What's up, everybody? Back again, Warp Charge Gaming, and I always want to say live from Battlegrounds, but we're not there right now.
No, we're in quarantine, bro.
Yeah, we're in quarantine. We're all at home. Yeah, it's been that way. I'm George, and that's Chris and James, and we're hanging out here tonight. I got cameras all over the place because I've been in like crazy camera land. I don't even know which one's like looking at me right now. I still got them all set up and turned on and shit. It's been a wild week, and it's hard to remember days and times. Are you guys getting lost in like time warps at this point, or what?
Kinda, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, was it hard to know that what day this week was it like? Oh my God, is that what day it is? It's hard. That's a hard question, just because thinking backwards is all a big blur.
Yeah, dude, it feels like that's every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I am convinced Carol Baskin murdered her husband.
Yo, man, all you gotta do is use that sardine oil, man. That's the sauce.
I mean, that's what she says you would use if you were trying to get rid of a body with a big cat, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, right into the Tiger King references. We do talk about tabletop wargaming. It is episode 96.
Oh, I'm not referencing Tiger King. I'm referencing Big Cat Rescue. Carol Baskin murdered her husband and got away with it, and somehow her pet cats are being rescued by herself.
Right. No, obviously. I just want to make sure everybody else
definitely
knew.
think Joe Exotic should still rot in jail, so I'm not referencing Tiger King.
Okay. Obviously, I just wanted to, people to be able to attach it to something and have a reference there. But, things are crazy right now. It's hard to, even find a starting point of what we're going to talk about tonight. What the hell is going on, right? Where is my Space Wolf Codex? Excuse me, like the Psychic Awakening book, and like there's some other factions in there and stuff too.
Wait, do you not have yours yet?
Is that shit out? Is it out?
Yeah, that came out on Saturday.
Why don't I have it?
I don't know.
Maybe that's the problem then, is that it's my fault.
Stop blaming things on other people, dude.
Dude. Oh, we got Big Cleat out there. What's up?
Big Cleat's the man.
We're just getting started trying to hang out on this show tonight, buddy. We're totally down to answer any questions if you want to send us on a tangent any which way. But, dude, what were we just talking about?
That because of the corona, you forgot the days. Because you forgot the days, you forgot about a book that came out relative to your army. So now you're blaming that the book hasn't come out because you just weren't aware of it coming out.
It's
because you don't know what day it is.
It's
but
my fault.
You still managed to know that it was Thursday to arrive here today.
I'm good at being on time. Big Cleat asked a great question, and you're right, James. I let it slip right by me that the Space Wolf book's out, and I absolutely need it absolutely fast. That's the thing I'm going to do right away, and I can't wait to do it because it's going to be exciting. But then I'm going to be sad again because I'm not going to be playing because I'm trapped at home.
I mean, there's Tabletop Simulator.
There is Tabletop Sim, and it's about time to get into that. Last week we alluded to that we're getting ready to feature some Kill Team content with our buddies at Command Point. They have a podcast, and they're gonna do a Kill Team tournament that's featured across the world. I think it's like small. I think it's like 32 participants, but it's gonna be
getting dissed on the Facebook chat. Or on the Facebook chat.
Dude, Chris, you can totally address that. Do you want to tell Mike something right now? I mean,
listen, man, I don't dress up for nobody who ain't putting out dinner for me.
Yeah, Mike, you son of a bitch. Dang. All right. So let's jump over to Big Cleat's question. Explain to me the most difficult rule of every game you play. Okay. Chris, James, whoever wants to start that off, you
take fun seriously.
Okay.
The most difficult rule?
Difficult rule.
The psychic phase. Since I do not participate in it.
Nice. Good answer. Dude, I don't got one. I'm good at rules, man. There's nothing difficult.
Sounds like Mike's lonely.
Yeah, I'm hearing Mike out there.
Hey,
Yeah,
if he's got tigers, dude, he might talk you into a relationship.
My God.
Big Cleats cracking me up. He said he's basically being sarcastic and jokes on us. We kind of had nothing to say there. Yeah. Dude, I'm lost this episode, really. My head is fuzzled because all I've been thinking about is everything other than wargaming right now. And that's sad, you know?
I mean, I think the audience can kind of see that because the studio view has definitely changed dramatically from your background.
Yeah, it's all crazy. It's all crazy back there. I think I have a camera. Yeah, check this out. So like that's
got some blue swirlies in the background. Looks like you're in like some kind of space warp.
Yep, that's basically what I feel like, dude. Like, okay, so one little back. This is what's going on with me, is that fucking cut last week. I just got done with the how to stream video series, and I think I have an image. Bam, James made this sweet ass flyer. It's a 5-course series. I literally just before we went live, got that shit posted to Skillshare, and it's all on our Patreon. So that's pretty cool. We restructured our Patreon. Currently we're not able to even, Battlegrounds isn't open, and that's part of our partnership program, part of our Patreon backdrop. We made it so that we're going to put exclusive content behind Patreon. Looking at the right camera now. And this course is the first thing. I worked really hard on it, worked a couple weeks on it, and made 5 courses on like the audio, the video, and all this stuff. And then it was cool because then I put out this content that said, look, I know how to stream and I'll teach you. And like at that same time, I felt kind of validated because my dad hit me up and he's like, yo, me and my old time friends want to get together and like be able to be rowdy and drink together on a Zoom, on like a hangout. And he didn't know how to do that or like what words to say. And I was like coaching him on how I've heard that Zoom has been a good program or platform because like unlike Google Hangout or you like FaceTime or something like that, that it has nice clear audio, visuals, and it's just like it's kind of plug and play. You don't have to have a Gmail account kind of stuff. It has its own like quirks of how to get logged in. But I dived into how the Zoom platform worked, and I spent a shit ton of time over this past week researching what it's capable of. Particularly because I enjoyed the features of being able to share audio between people you're hanging out with. My dad wanted to be able to have people like kind of like when you're hanging out with friends and you like share YouTubes and stuff. You're like, oh, check out this video or check out that video. You know, everybody's done that where everybody shares like funny YouTube shits they know about. Well, they want to be able to do that, and it's not easy to do to send audio through platforms. It's easy enough to share a screen, but Zoom was incredible how it worked. So I did a lot of study on that. And it kind of made me feel good that I helped my dad and all his friends get to have this cool, interactive, new age way of hanging out that they were not keen to. You know,
you called it new age.
You know, kind of thing. These newfangled ways, he got accustomed to it, and it felt good to see how much fun they had. Like I tuned in, I got them all set up, and then I left, and I came back a couple hours later. It's like midnight. My dad texts me. He's like, "Jump back in." And I jump back in. My dad and all his friends are usually like pretty, together folks. But as soon as I jump in, like I hear all these clinks of ice cubes and glasses, as if I just like walked into a party and everybody's like, "Hey!" It's like ching ching and all the glasses moving around, and they were having a fucking ball hanging out in this Zoom meeting. So that was hilarious. But then my longtime music crew, Party Liberation Front, we have our big street show that we do every Friday, or first Friday of like each season. It's like spring and fall and summer. And April was the very big one. We had to cancel it, like so many events out there. Adepticon. Lord knows. Will we get to go to Nova Open? Will we get to go to Nova?
As of right now, they're still on.
Yeah, it's scary though to like even like try to reschedule an event.
Yeah.
Like the service industry and like the event like people. Like I've been reading just like a lot of DJ friends, like wedding DJs.
Thanks, Todd.
Today. Struggling. Well, we get a holler.
You got a like?
Gotta be like.
Oh, cool. I like that. That's cool. That's nice. But yeah, so like then we had to cancel this big street show, right? And we have a badass time at the street show like every year. A ton of people come out, all these fire spinners and DJs, and I love it. We couldn't do it this year for kickoff of 2020. and they were like kind of pipe dreaming of like, what if we could do this or what if we could do that, and be able to stream DJs and people together. So I jumped in, I made an art grant for our organization to kind of like fund the time and effort I was going to put into making this big production. And tomorrow we're going to show it off, dude. And I've been working all week on this super interactive, being able to show like video backdrops. It feels like you're a DJ with this giant projector behind you, and you know, because you can make it like freaking huge compared to your image. And it's just cool to stream. Like, there's a ton of, I was mentioning in last week's show with you guys, actually, I was like, are you guys seeing a bunch of like musicians and shit streaming in all kinds of wacky ways?
And I was like, no, because all I see on Facebook is Warhammer.
Yeah, like there's like all these little channels popping up, and I don't know if like it's weird in Facebook. I think people can like add you to groups and shit, and like you're just there. Like sometimes I feel like I'm places I never signed up to be, kind of deal, like groups and whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a mass exodus the other day. I left like 5 group chats that I had been added to against my will because I'm like, dude, like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, so like I got all these like social distancing networks for like the bedroom DJ, the like fucking, I forget what this like folky one is, but there's all these people playing acoustic guitars and shit. So I've seen a million different ways of people streaming, because like I love music. I can't help but click on them often, or like see what the hell's going on, or is it a train wreck? And some of these DJs have like fucking like crazy, like just the cheap disco lasers and shit that are like the front line, the lights you would buy at Spencer's Gifts at the mall, you know, like basically lava lamp quality shit. And it's just like all these blinky disco lights going on behind them all randomly while they DJ in the dark for this stream of like 12 people or whatever.
Yes. It sounds like a great party.
And they're raging out and they're fucking doing what they can to fucking be in the. It's just the craziness is the mass amount of it. Like, I respect everybody for their hustle, but dude, like the level of production that this is gonna look like compared to what I've seen in such mass is, I'm just really excited to show it off. And I feel like I couldn't have been able to present this, the music and the show that we're gonna do to commemorate the PLF Gallery 5. It's a 15-year anniversary, and I have 15 years worth of video footage that's going to be playing behind us. And then we're going to have people zoom in live that are going to be live fire spinning and doing prop manipulation, and we're going to green screen that behind us while we're DJing. So that kind of interaction of people live performing, being green screen behind us to our live music, and then showing that to a live audience who's, when typing on screen and shit, all this stuff's like appearing on the screen. It's going to be so interactive. And I'm like firing off all these different camera angles live with my hand, just like, let's see, yeah. I mean, it's just like I'm pushing an iPad button right now to just change all these crazy camera angles. And when I have it all set up for the DJ rig, it is crazy, man. And I couldn't have done it without creating all these wacky 4-camera setups for our tabletop wargaming streams, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, whew, sure, I'm excited. And the cool thing is now, for anybody that's interested, whoever's listening to this on the back end or whatever, who's like wants to know more about this equipment and the methods that we use to like create these different streams, we've got a whole class on it now. And it's all accessible if you're just a Patreon member, or if you want to have more value for your buck, use Skillshare and get access to like 30,000 different courses.
They also got free 30 days.
Yeah, free 30 days, no doubt. You can just scope that shit and roll, you know? That's right. And that's just got set up. So there's me talking a whole bunch about the shit my mind has been on. Unfortunately, haven't got to fucking study much on the tabletop.
Are you saying that you don't know what's coming this Sunday?
No. I'm lost.
That's good.
Dude. I'm lost.
Because none of us really do know what's coming this Sunday. We know there's another Games Workshop tease.
Yeah.
I thought that was Saturday.
Maybe it's Saturday. It's I think 2 p.m. They have it up on the Warhammer 40K page, but they have said that for the Adepticon teases, every single game that they have rules for, that they are still producing rules for, is getting some kind of update.
Every single game, Chris?
Every single one that they are still making rules for. Yes. So I know there was something for Warcry already teased. Blackstone Fortress has the Zote and everything coming up. Or I guess technically that may have been with Saga of the Wolf. So Blackstone Fortress is probably getting their next expansion released, or at least teased. We have seen another tease very recently for what's pretty obviously a Bone Reaper Osiarch thing that was on the community page for Warhammer. It's kind of really hard to say everything we're going to see. We know that we've seen the 40k tease already, which was, of course, Fabius Bile. His crazy backpack. He's confirmed there's going to be a chaos sub-faction that is like the legions of Fabius Bile or something like that.
Agents of Bile.
Agents of Bile. Indeed. Yeah. They have confirmed that the Death Guard are getting 7 full cults or something like that. Basically kind of like the Thousand Suns treatment. And I mean, so far, there's been a lot confirmed thus far. And also, what was it? For Age of Sigmar, the cow people?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
The Beastmen, probably, but
no, they're cow people.
They're cow people for sure.
They remind me of Diablo, 2 cow level.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's literally like a lot of people with like antlers.
Tube in the leg, bro, in the book.
The Paintflow Exception mentioned that Infinity Code 1 is coming out. I know that you guys may not be super interested. I was just going to mention that I thought it was interesting that people that are longtime Infinity fans seem to be hype on this Infinity Code 1, because this version of Infinity that's coming out is a simplified rule set of the core game. And they're going to run in conjunction. Like, there's this version of the game, and then there's the other. So I don't quite understand it, because I don't want to play a simplified rule set, if it's less of a game.
George, this is just the same thing that happened to 40k, but with your baby game.
But this is a different. Yeah, but they did. That's a different strategy though, right? Like, they didn't just change it. Like, here's your new game. They're coming out with here's an alternative version of the game, and here's
Infinity
the other
Light.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's an alternative beta test for the new game.
Well, what's whack is that it's coming out at the same time roughly as the new version of Infinity that's been years into the next version. We're going into N4, where we've been in N3 for the last few years. Yeah, so there's a new version of Infinity at the same time that the simplified rule set's being launched.
We also, this is not related to Infinity, not really related to 40k either, but they said that the fantasy reboot for not Age of Sigmar, but Warhammer Fantasy Battles: The Old World is coming out in approximately 2 years, and they teased the first models for that, which is very odd that they're going on that long of a timetable for this.
Sure.
But they released I think they're the Forces of Kilsev. They're, from what I can recall, the much more almost Russian-inspired sort of old worldy troops, furry hats, bear riders, stuff like that.
Yeah, that whole thing weirds me out in general, of just GW to go back to square-based days and the rank. I know there's a love and cult following for that, but it seems so not what they're doing anymore, I don't know, but it's I'm still where's Battlefleet Gothic, man? There's other stuff to do before you bring back fantasy. I'm just surprised that there's still people that they think there's support to give to fantasy, and why not make it converted into Sigmar land? I guess another game for them, if they just write some sort of production and say, hey, here's this revamp, that they can sell it as much as they'll sell it, and it wasn't very much effort, boost more sales out of that audience than okay, there's this there's this percentage of people we're not converting into Sigmar that still want this old fantasy. Cool, let's make money off those people and revamp it, and then not give a shit about that revamp and let those suckers buy into it. Kind of like Titanicus. That is a very niche thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I think it's also kind of one of those things where one of the biggest, I think, losses that a lot of the fantasy players felt was losses of fluff, where I think Bretonians and a lot of them, like, they were almost like a direct real world fantasy ripoff on like lore, where it was like, oh, there was like the Lady of the Lake and like all of this like classic sort of like almost Lord of the Rings-esque like Easter or like a European era fluff, which was like people got into the game for some of those reasons. To have so much of it wiped was definitely a feel bad for some people. So maybe they're trying to rekindle some of that.
Well, yeah, I know one of my buddies who just like he says to the like he'll like just like breathe fire and brimstone when he talks about the story where it went from old fantasy to Sigmar, and he was absolutely like disgusted. Like he had like tattoos and had read every book, and he thought that they just totally shit on and ruined the story with the Sigmar transition. I have not paid enough attention to care. It seems like that it's evolved enough to like kind of bring it all back and swirl into chaos, like chaosy, like anything could happen, like don't get too caught up on it.
Like, to be fair, George, like Warhammer Fantasy Battles is almost like before your time. Not that you're like, like old, but like when you came into 40K, that was basically already at the junction point for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
So you missed a lot of the initial like the the tectonic plates moving and people getting lost in the fissures.
Oh, I absolutely did. Yeah, it's a long it was totally out of my perspective, but it's been like 8 years.
It's been a while.
When did I start playing? When did I meet your ass? I don't even remember, but it's about that time. So it's like, to me, that game, 8 years, the game's kind of gone. Nobody plays it.
Yeah, no, I mean but to be fair, like there's other game systems, for example. Just to bring up like Dungeons and Dragons, like you still have people that insist on playing some of the older editions. Like they just won't make the jump to newer editions of the rules. It happens.
Yeah, our buddy Poxus out there said that fantasy lost tactics going to round bases. It was much more difficult to be good at, and he misses it greatly. So, like, I've totally met like passionate square-based folks, that like were super invested into that type of system.
There's a question from the chat that I want to hop back to, but
what's that?
Thoughts, Larry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Monkey J had asked earlier, any new rumors on Warhammer 9th edition or 40K 9th edition? I don't think it's coming. I mean, eventually, sure, but like people keep bringing this up, like Warhammer 9th edition. I think we're still at the point where there's going to be like side grade, like 8.5, 8.6, 8.7. I could be wrong. I know that there's some people that are already tired of the 8th edition rule set. But I don't know. It's hard because that's one of those rumors that keeps making the rounds periodically, like every single rumor cycle.
I like this. Everybody's enjoying the square base talk. I agree, Chris. I think that they're still. I don't know, man. They're just the way that the whole psychic awakening thing. What do you think it's going to look like? This 8.5 type deal. We're going to go through all the psychic awakening books. And then what's going to happen? Is it going to be new codexes for everybody? Or is it going to be like this campaign book that's like new way to play? Or how's it going to, like a chapter approved that changes it all?
So this is another interesting thought. And this, we may get answers to this on the tease this weekend. We still don't know about, we know Forge World books are getting redone here in a little bit. For all we know, perhaps we're going to see a few core mechanics that are in the main rules change entirely. Like I could see that being a factor. I know personally for me, like I still think Fly is too good. And I know that's a hill that I'll die on. That's a hill that I'll die on alone. But like, I don't know. I could see them making some big refresh changes to like a lot of the mechanics that have become so prolific. And thank you on the poncho comment. But I digress. Like it's difficult because once again, like we've seen, for example, like from 7th to 8th, they got rid of Feel No Pain, but it came back in just different flavors. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, one of the first Warlord traits you could choose was a 6-up Feel No Pain. So I mean, it never went away like from the moment 8th dropped. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, these are like Games Workshop has a habit. Like, even a lot of the changes from 8th edition, it's kind of like they're just bouncing between old editions. Like, they keep pulling pieces of old rule sets forward. I think, if anything, if we see like a sort of new edition, quote unquote, you're going to see basically them pull out old rules from their asses and like take some of the rules that are currently in circulation and put them into the, the annals of time temporarily. Maybe that's crappy of me to think that Games Workshop won't come up with like an original rule on that one.
You know what's funny? What just popped in my mind is the last time that we went, like 7th reached its peak and we went into 8th, the big like mantra they had is that we wanted to make the game more digestible and simplified, and it's a 5-page rule book and shit, and like this time it's the same deal where we have literally players using stacks of books to form their army list, 6, 7 fucking books. Like, we could do it. It's so not that hard, chapter approved core rule book, Forge World, your actual codex, a Vigilus book, a Psychic Awakening. There's 6.
Mine uses 5 books.
Yep. If you want to be absurd, you can push to 6.
And it's a single faction.
Oh, I didn't even say it's a single faction. I didn't even say demons yet. Yeah, there's another book right there.
And you're getting a new chaos faction.
Psychic Awakening. Then you're at 8 books. And at one level you're like, why would they care? That's like $40 a pop. They're selling books, but now they don't have any more books to write because they can't get you 10, 12, 15 books. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly really like it if what's it called? They came up with like a digital compilation book. I mean, heck, people would be willing to pay like $80 for like, hey, these are a compilation of all the digital rule books I need to play this faction that I want.
Hey, maybe it might be worth it to just for yourself, obviously you can't steal anyone's IP and put this out there, but if you have the digital copies in PDF form, you can get a PDF editor and take your pages that you need and put it all into one book.
Yeah, but it's the practicality of the new player gap, because that was like their thing before.
Oh yeah, I agree.
They wanted to be accessible for people to get into the hobby, and when they came out with 8th, we saw this huge surge. And what I thought, honestly, the game's great, but like I didn't feel like, it's hard for me to remember how substantially different it was from 7th. Like, I just feel like the same kind of, there's so much like power now. I think it's a better, healthier game than it was back then. But there's just as much power now as there was back then.
I want to stop and answer Matthew Beeler. That question you're proposing in the chat is not valid coming from someone who plays Death Guard in 40K, because Death Guard are not good right now.
I'll totally jump on Matt's train there and say, hey, one thing that's cool, guys, is Facebook is totally working tonight on our chat, so that's nice. Matt, I personally would agree with you that I prefer playing Sigmar over 40K. When I'm hanging around at the shop, now I do get kind of like obsessive over a 40K list where I'll be like, cool, I just grinded it out to make this competitive thing, so I want to try it. But if I'm just like wanting to enjoy myself and something I can play on a more regular repetition of the same faction, it's going to be Sigmar. Now, granted though, I'm biased because demons and chaos fucking rule in Sigmar, and anybody that's a demon chaos player is like, Sigmar's way cooler than 40K because every chaos god gets its own book and has like 2 ways to play with inside of Mortals, Demons. It's like each one has like its own Chaos Space Marine Demons book combined for Nurgle, Slaanesh, Khorne. So what's not to love there? And it's a more combat-centric game. So people that love to fight more, and it's more hero hammer, so you get to put the big shit on the table. It's a lot more movement oriented. There's a lot of things about Sigmar that make it a game that could be said as preferable.
Well, and I mean, just, even as someone who prefers the 40K, like we've seen some big names kind of gravitate away from 40K a little bit. Even recently, Wingfield, who is a frequent of the Battlegrounds tournaments, even he has said, I'm stepping back a little bit more from competitive 40K and I'm going to just play a little bit more Age of Sigmar. I'm like, man, that says something, I think. But
dude, it's awesome. See, I love one of the things that now what's kind of worrisome is that it's definitely like recently added in a lot more shooting than it's ever had. A release came out called Cities of Sigmar, and a lot of the older factions that were kind of under the wayside of the Imperial, like the Imperial Man kind of thing.
the shooting factions.
Yeah, and their rules were like non-existent, and they got revamped with the Cities of Sigmar. I'm probably kind of butchering that because I haven't paid too much attention. They're good guys and they're humans. They're not demons and chaos. So I only cared so much, but I know they put out a shit ton of guns and they shoot really well. And now there's the skeleton people, the Bone Reapers. They have a nasty. Their catapult is disgusting. It literally in a single shot, like shooting phase, can rip a bloodthirster off the board, and that's a large point sink in your army. You know.
Not to mention those models are just ridiculous. I mean, that's some next level sculpting. I mean, that's one of the things with Sigmar that Games Workshop has definitely done correctly is all of those sculpts that they've redone since Age of Sigmar came out. Every single one, even the bad ones, are like really good.
Yeah, they make great crossovers for when you want to do counts as in 40K too, especially if you're a Chaos player. One thing that's cool in Sigmar is that there's a lot more of a wind up where, you know, someone had mentioned that I feel like I get a lot less frustrated with turn one losses in Sigmar versus 40K. And there's like this wind up feeling. There's certain armies that will totally smash the game is ridiculous as far as how much of an alpha strike can happen. You can literally like get wrecked in turn one. But you have to know your enemy, and it's not just from a shit ton of shots that came from across the board from a turtle shell. The cool thing about it is if you get turn one tabled in Sigmar, it's because something ran up in your grill and slayed you like a ridiculous charge. Not some like I'm here in the back of the table in this big turtle, and for 3 turns you tried to walk at me and it just didn't work, you know. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more of like a tick 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 tick, like a wind up feeling, and who's gonna get to it's like Jenga, like whose tower is gonna fall first kind of thing, before the big collide. I do. So enjoy it. Yeah.
On that, George, have you been playing any 40K at all lately, or Sigmar, or Infinity,
or games?
No, dude. No.
What?
Can hardly. It's been the longest stint in 2 years. I think it's been like 20 days. I've quit cigarettes and I'm 20 days into that or some shit, and that's about the same amount of time I haven't been able to play games.
Ugh.
Yeah. But I've gotten so much shit done, dude. Like I could just rant and rave about tech, and I hope that people tune in to the Party Liberation Front show on Friday tomorrow, 7 to 10. I'm going to be DJing from 8 to 9 and throwing down like hardcore. But dude, so much work into all this crazy stuff. I've been definitely growing skill sets, getting things accomplished. I want to really make, like we talked about last week, a how to build a 40K army video. I got a cool spiel, and I want to bust it out, you know.
For sure.
And that would be on the subject of like detachments and battle forged and command points and the like key fundamentals of what's inside of a codex that you can break down for any given army, you know, relics, warlord traits, psychic powers, stratagems, character auras. Yeah.
Wild.
But yeah, yeah, I know James and I have managed to, despite the quarantines, get some gamage in. Not with each other, unfortunately. Sadly, James and I don't get to play nearly enough. But I got to play against a Sisters of Battle army the other day from our local friend John, and he played awesome because I rolled like a god, and he still ended up pulling away a 2-point victory, 26-24, playing a really funky Sisters army where they were ignoring AP Neg 1 and Neg 2, and Hive Guard don't like that because they're AP Neg 2. Yeah. Besides that, though, I was playing like a zone throw spam kind of army. Super fun. A lot of fun so far with the new ITC missions. I know a lot of us haven't got nearly enough testing with it. Besides that, though, it was great, man. Getting to roll some dice was just so cathartic. And I know James in his neck of the woods got to play with our friend Matt Simon.
Yeah, I got tabled by Necrons.
What?
Not only did I get tabled by Necrons, but like he put on a decent showing, man. He played Necrons like Tau, and he had a list without the 3 flyers. Think about that.
So no mortal bombs.
No mortal bombs. It was just a
Damn.
shooting gallery from heavy destroyers, uh, Doomsday arcs, and the Tesseract arc from Forge World.
Oh wow, he used a Tesseract arc too.
Yeah, they're pretty nasty, and they have a really cool rule. It's really good against assault armies. Granted, it like didn't it worked against one unit, but I prepared for it, so like it still didn't like help them save that unit. But when you go to charge, you roll 3 dice and discard the highest. So he likes to place that thing in a crater, so it's already -2 to charge, on top of roll 3 dice, discard the highest. And a lot of times it's like 3 to 4 inches that it's taking away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that plus the crater becomes like 5-6 inches that are being taken away. So like I only attempt like 3 or 4 inch charges against that thing because they end up being like massive.
Certainly. I
Yeah.
know one of the big downfalls I played against with sisters is I don't know what the rule is called, but they have like blessings or virtues or something they pick, and they can either roll 2 off of a chart randomly or pick 1 and get the pick. And all of his units get to deny on a d6. But what they can do is he did the virtue or whatever it's called, where you add 3 to that result, and basically coupled with destiny dice, that means especially when you're running a psychic heavy army, it was like, oh well, like any 5 or 6s I have in destiny dice are going to deny a power that you've cast on 8 or less just automatically. Very good against my army, but then again, I was rolling 3-up invuln saves like a god. Like, I think the last game I played against Blood Angels, I failed like the first 13 3-up invulnerable saves of the game. This game, I probably didn't fail a 3-up invulnerable save till I rolled like my 33rd.
Fucking A. Now, I think we talked about this before, Chris, but the Zoanthropes have recently became like you hadn't. I mean, you've ran them before, but like them coming kind of back into the forefront of your list, is that like that's a newer thing with the ITC missions that kind of spawned it?
Yes. Well, so I have become fixated on the Sapper secondary. I really like it. I think it's an interesting mechanic in terms of being able to score secondaries. And, you know, one of the things that make really good Sappers are obviously things that are extremely durable, things with storm shields, things with 3-up invulnerable saves. But beyond that, you know, if you're sapping an objective, you can't cast a psychic power. Zoanthropes have this cool stratagem where if you have 3 units of Zoanthropes that are at least 3 strong, you can't cast a psychic power, but you pick a point 18 inches from all 3 units of Zoanthropes, and they have to have line of sight and all be within 18. But you roll a dice for every unit within 3 inches of the point, subtracting 1 if it's a character and adding 1 if it's over 10 models, I think it is. And all of those units take 3d3 mortal wounds.
Oh my god.
So it's almost like you're doing Smite, except that you just use a stratagem. It doesn't say instead of using a psychic power, so you can still sap and have like this, you know, invulnerable advancing blob just moving forward, being like, I'm still doing damage. I have not broken the ITC rules.
And it could be a lot of damage. It could, because that could target a character, right?
Yes, and it could be on a minus. I mean, it becomes on a 5-up.
Oh yeah,
you still have to roll a dice.
It could target a bunch of things technically, depending on how.
Well, that was kind of one of the big things I regretted from my game. My game with Sisters is I burned through my CP entirely by turn 2, as did my opponent. I didn't actually even get to use the stratagem once because of how quickly we burned through our CP. So I kind of wish I pumped the brakes a little bit. And yeah, no, it was. There was one moment at the beginning of the game where I feel like I could have bombed 2 vehicles, 2 units of Sisters, and Celestine, but I instead was like, oh no, but these Hive Guard are going to get so much more bang for their buck. And then with that -2 AP, man, just being ignored, it did not work out for me. That was learning curve kind of thing. But yeah, no, Zoanthropes with Sappers, you're going to see them on a lot of tiered lists nowadays, I think, if that's an option for a secondary. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, like the new ITC missions have definitely refreshed a lot of things. There's a lot of amazing choices within the Tyranid Genestealer Cult army for Postman, because Genestealer Cult can throw characters back in reserve for 1 CP. So like one of the things I have with this list is the Abominant with the Relic to give him a 3-up invulnerable save. And he's basically just, my army is basically nothing but Storm Shields almost. It's like, hey, I've got 15 Zoanthropes, the Zoanthrope character, another character with a 3-up invulnerable save, 2 Hive Tyrants that have 4-up invulnerable saves. It's a very elite Tyranid army, but there's also like picking scoring against me is very obvious. Like you're gonna pick generally gangbusters, it's like I have Hive Guard, I have Zoanthropes. I don't know. It's a give and take thing. I love the new ITC missions. I've been having so much fun playing them.
Yeah, I can't wait to get some more games on. Particularly, I can't wait to read the Space Wolf book and get down up in this business, dude.
Well, dude, I can tell you at the gate. I mean, just the Space Marine stratagems you get are amazing. Like you get transhuman physiology, which is big.
What is that? What does that do, basically?
You use that on a unit of Marines, and I think that's I forget when you have to use it, but you ignore 1, 2s, and 3s to wound against them.
What? That's stupid.
It's good. It's really good.
What's it called again?
Transhuman physiology.
I'm looking it up.
Say what? 1s, 2s, and 3s. You don't wound me.
That's a stratagem, huh?
Yes, it's one of the Space Marine stratagems. There's that. There is the stratagem to take more Warlord traits, which for Space Wolves is kind of weird because they don't have the best Warlord traits.
There it is. Use the stratagem in any phase when a Space Wolf unit from your army that is not a vehicle or a servitor is chosen as a target from an attack until the end of the phase, until resolving an attack made against this unit until unmodified rolls of 1 through 3 always fail.
Boom.
Wow.
That's
you can use that on Wolfen.
Yeah, exactly.
2 CP.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you get all of the really juicy Space Marine stratagems. They also get, Duty Eternal. There's the Character Dreadnought stratagem, of course, which I don't think is big for Space Wolves because most of the Dreadnoughts are characters.
Do you think those Space Marine strats are in the Space Wolf Codex, like reprinted, or do you have to like go cross-reference the Space Marine book?
I believe they're only in the new Psychic Awakening book. I don't think they've updated digitals, if that's what you're asking.
Just like, they now have access to like transhuman physiology and stuff, but that's like a Space Marine strat. But James, you just saw it in the Space Wolf book.
Well, there's 3 pages in this new book.
Okay.
Psychic Awakening book.
So we get 3 pages. I want my 3 pages.
And then you get some relics as well. The stratagems are definitely some of the bigger sauce.
That's sure as hell ain't much. It's basically a page for Warlord traits, a page for relics, and a page for strats.
No, there's 3 pages of strats.
Oh.
Yeah. Then there's the Warlord traits, and then you have.
I was gonna say 3 pages of strats, baby. What? Wow! Oh, I'm all in there, man.
Then you have the abstraction discipline, so you have a whole psychic page.
New powers.
And then you have litanies of battle. You got a whole.
Oh yeah, they got that new litany. I forget what it does, but I know one of the Space Wolf specific litany is pretty decent.
The Space Wolf Tale of the Wolf King and the Lord of the Deeps. Whoa. Is that the one you're referring to?
Whoa. Lord of the Deeps. Dude, I'm jealous. Quit reading shit.
It's basically against monsters and vehicles. You add 1 to the damage characteristic.
That's
basically
right.
Blood Angels now. Yeah.
When you guys got the super doctrine to where 6s are exploding 6s.
You got 2 pages of relics.
Oh man, I cannot wait to dive in. So I mean, that's going to be my new good times. Now I still do love my. I have a 40k or a chaos list, and I'm stoked on the double Mauler Fiend, flawless host, fucking triple discos. One's the Alpha Legion. That one's fun.
I can tell you, George, just like, and this isn't one of the best stratagems, but like just to give you an idea of like the kinds of stuff you're going to be playing with, the Stormfang gunship has a stratagem to where I think it's for 1 CP. you can make its shots +1 to hit, +1 strength, and +1 damage for the whole turn.
And that's the only thing that can carry woofing around. I've been ever since the chapter proofed point drop. I've been starting to fit in one of those and transporting a group of woofing in it just for funsy, because basically it was like free points. Like, oh, I could basically add a storm wolf in for free now. Let's do it. So that's cool because I've been playing those anyways.
There's definitely some sauce to be had. I mean, I don't know that what's it called? Space Wolves are going to be the top of the Marine, hierarchy, but there's definitely some play. Ragnar is a monster.
Oh, he's a monster.
I'm about those 2 damage teeth and claws, dude. Get that Canis Wolfborn out there. Get some extra, because he gives bonus attacks to teeth and claws, and then Wolf and Stone that shit. And then 2 damage that shit. And it's going to be, you're going to stack a bunch of attacks with 2 damage from the teeth and claws of those wolves.
Didn't you also just get a bunch of like blood claws and stuff done?
Oh, I'm loaded, dude. Loaded. I got like 50 blood claws. I don't know, I'm set. I got tons of Marines, Space Wolf style, looking beautiful. Can't wait for them to be good. I've literally been trying to have Space Wolves be like a solid competitive army since Adepticon 2 years ago.
Well, definitely now is the time, because I got to be honest, when their codex dropped, that was not the answer.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, they have not been good since 7th. They were probably in their best state right when 8th edition dropped and everybody was in index land, because that was where everybody was in their best state before.
Matt Beeler saying Ragnar is lackluster model-wise. I kind of agree. I think people were expecting more, but compared to the old sculpt, it is a huge upgrade.
Yeah, no doubt.
So with this one litany and that one stratagem to make 2 damage teeth and claws, you're going to have 3 damage teeth and claws.
Yeah, that's bonkers, dude. It's like that makes the dang Fenrisian wolves like incredible, actually, potentially. Maybe.
Oh, I didn't even think about them getting affected by it, honestly.
maybe my dream, because I kept crying about is, wouldn't it be awesome? And I knew I didn't think it would happen, but that they would make Fenrisian wolves troop slots, because my goal is to run as many dogs as possible when I play Space Wolves.
Run the whole town.
The idea that I could spam like 60 to 90 Fenrisian wolves and a bunch of Thunderwolf Cav and that be effective is exciting.
Well, the Crushing Assault, that's the 2 damage teeth and claws, is only on Thunderwolf Cavalry keyword.
Not all teeth and claws.
Yes.
My Fenrisian wolves, that is something I'm curious of, James, and what I was hoping to pick through. And for the love of God, did you see anything in there that gives any love to Fenrisian wolves?
Buddy, I just looked at this right now. Oh, but there is, right here. It's called Pack Hunter.
Oh?
I just scrolled up one. It's keyword for Fenrisian wolves or cyber wolves.
Yes.
So let's see what this says.
Yes.
From your army to choose to fight with until the end of the phase. When solving the attacks made by the model within the unit is within 3 inches of a friendly Space Wolf infantry unit or Space Wolf cavalry unit. You can reroll the hit rolls. Yeah, you reroll all hits.
So the wolves got reroll all hits now when they're within aura range.
It seems like the Space Wolf infantry get it, or no?
Oh, like the wolves inspire the infantry?
Other way around. Infantry inspire the wolves.
Yeah, the infantry inspire the wolves.
Okay.
It's something, but it's definitely probably. I mean, one of the things that I think everyone is still like hopping down on is Ragnar with the exploding 6s and the shock assault getting turned to +3 attacks instead of +1. And also the stratagem that lets you pick a Space Wolves character and have your attacks explode on 4s instead of 6s. He's so good. I mean, He puts out as much like hurt as like a Disco Lord, and he can hide.
Yeah, I'm wondering that badass third-party like Rust type model you made for me, James. I was hoping to run Ragnar as that guy potentially.
That makes sense.
You can do it.
Yeah, that guy's a pimp-ass model.
Yeah, absolutely. We're roughly the same size.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to do that, and it's going to be sexy and awesome. I wonder if while we're live and hanging out here, I can grab a picture of that model and show the audience. I think I probably can. I'm going to try. So I'm stoked. I'm glad you guys are also stoked on Space Wolves. It's going to be great. I can't wait till we make some content around it.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be cool. I mean, just as a force multiplier, and I think I mentioned this as well last week. Like Ragnar may be one of the most improved characters in the entire game.
Right.
I mean, he provides so much. Whereas, like I think in terms of like as a force multiplier, he may be second in the Marine lineups, possibly to like Iron Master Pharaohs. Maybe that's a big thing for me to say. I don't know, but like he's definitely top 5 without a question, like easily.
Yeah. Here we go. This is funny. I have so James painted my Space Wolf army, and I'm going to show it on screen right now. Here, I think I can do kablam, full screen, hide me. Cool. Oh God, that's harder than I expected. 1 second, friends. I'm showing you something.
I don't think Space Wolves have a way to pawn off wounds.
What are you
But I
doing
mean,
to us right now, George?
I suppose you could use Transhuman on him, which would be at least effective for a face.
I got the old Ragnar up right now. I got the Ragnar that you painted, James. And then this is going to be the one. I got a picture side by side. So I want to use this model right here. And James put him on this big ass base that's like Gilliman size, but in the middle is a like 40 mil or the appropriate size base that pops right out. And look at that little ass model. That was Ragnar, guys.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, that actually reminded me because that model, the model that James painted, the much cooler looking model.
Yes.
For 30K, the big reveal was they did the Primarch, the Lion, aka Dark Angels, out of the Forge World line. Very
really?
cool model. Yep. He's a cool one, but has no real bearing on 40K, obviously. But apparently he's really, really good.
All right, here we go. Yeah, this model slaps. So James, do you remember where this guy's from? This third-party Rust dude?
I want to say Spellcrow, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think that might be right. That's a bad.
No, Wargaming exclusive.
Okay.
That's who it is.
Yeah, you killed this one. He was going to be my Lehman Russ if they ever gave him some rules, and in case there was a crappy model. But right now, Ragnar, like our friend said in the chat, like the Ragnar model is like not that cool. I think he's a little underwhelming myself, but he is way cooler than what it was.
He definitely also does look like Sabretooth from X-Men.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I would expect is some Sabretooth action. Wow. Oh, cats and kittens out there.
Come on.
Man. But Orcs, I feel like Orcs did not get the love Space Wolves did, honestly, that release. Sad for the Orcs. They did get a lot of really cool
Orcs
toys.
got all the love. What are you talking about? Dude, they got the coolest stuff.
I just think that there's definitely some players that are much more upset because of Gazgul's rules. So maybe it's just the salt is that much more palpable.
I think Gazgul's got play. He's just way too expensive. Like if he was down to 235, he would be super in most competitive lists, especially every golf list out there. And he definitely makes golf competitive because of the output that can be put from just one boy unit. And that's where I see his play is like if you were planning on using boys to get in someone's grill and disrupt them because you like the combat aspect of the phase, he makes boys so awesome. So if you just bring a unit that's 10 man, a unit that's 30 man, and then what's it called? A unit of grots. And you use your grot shield on them as they're coming up the board. You can even jump them, turn 2, and have Gazgul drop in from teleporter.
Teleporter.
There's a lot of combos you can do, but he basically makes it like 5 attacks that are because you can make them Star Boys or whatever, and they're like strength 5. They have exploding attacks. Like it's just insane. Re-rolling ones like.
One of the shames, besides the fact he can't charge through walls, losing the infantry keyword, and obviously all the healing issues with him, is that if you do the teleporter route, Makari, his little like companion with the banner, not only is he also like almost 70 points, but obviously like that doesn't play with the teleporter. So if you go that route, he's missing out on his 6-up Feel No Pain, which is not huge, but like it's unfortunate.
Yeah. What I like that they got is
you could jump that other guy though. Just to sorry to interrupt, James, but you could jump him if you needed to.
Certainly.
Thanks, George, for ruining my thought.
I helped.
Oh, guys.
In your face.
Oh, yeah, the Grots. The Grots. You can now take them in their own kind of clan so that they're getting their reroll ones. So you take the cannons, smash the cannons. And
all their cannons get reroll 1s.
So now and they hit on 4s instead of 5s. So what's dope about those cannons, they're like 30-something points, and you can take them in squads of 6. And they act independent once they're on the board. So you can have 18 of those things at 30-something points apiece, hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s. And they get D3 shots apiece. And the way their strength work is you roll 2 dice against the model's toughness. So for Marines, you need 4s on 2 dice. And they're neg 4 AP D6 damage.
Gross. I remember, I think my first Adepticon, there was an orc player who had the Tracta cannons, and they just destroyed my Hive Tyrants, like, unapologetically.
I've actually seen Paul Seal from Wet Wild and Warpy. He's ran that at quite a few times at our local tournaments here at Battlegrounds. Wet Wild and Warpy, same team that Larry Oliver was on that we interviewed, who got second at the major with Tyranids with a 5-0 record. But yeah, Paul Seal's a real cool cat, and he has ran the buttload of smash-a-guns. And then there's the big mech with the smash-a-gun as well, right? He's a freak show on his own.
It's the
shock attack gun.
Shock attack gun, the relic shock attack gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which you upgrade the detachment and you get the relic. And that thing is super nasty because if you roll real heavy above 11 on the strength, that thing's doing mortals on top of everything. So it's just so gross.
Yo, Kevin was saying you can't jump them, Gaz, as an infantry. I was talking about the extra guy. Yeah, I bet he's infantry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the guy that buffs Gaz. We were talking about de-jumping him. Gaz would get teleported. So we were mentioning that if you teleported Gaz, now you don't have his buff character following him around, but you could jump him.
Yeah, but I think those guns are nasty.
Those guns are nasty. I would have figured that some of the new stuff that they would have at their disposal, like that seemed to be a path of necessity. I felt like it was weird to see orc players go away from the large horde and go towards like these and combat and be more of a shooting, tanky gunline army. And
speaking on orc gunlines, what is the Ludas? I mean, I know Ludas can do it, but they got a cool stratagem for as long as their sergeant's alive. You can Is it roll 2 dice for the number of shot results? It's something like that. For the D3? Yeah.
I'll look it up.
That's solid. I mean, that's definitely going to make I think it's like 2 CP if the unit's 10 or more models, and 1 CP if it's under 10 models.
Yeah, it's Clevis Spanner. It's for both Ludas or Burnaboys.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, what is that? What does it do again? It gives what?
You can roll 1 additional dice.
Determining number of shots.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So it's not max shots like some of the sauce we've seen, like, with like, Riptides just get flat 6, or like the Tyrannid Relic, the Venom Thorn Parasite. But
is that culture specific, or can any Luda do it?
Any Luda or any Burner Boy.
Because it's the Evil Sons that have the shoot twice. Not Evil Sons, but the is that no.
Bad Moons?
Bad Moons that had the shoot twice strat. So
yeah, you can use this on them.
Yeah, so you would.
And the way Ludas work is it's for the phase. So that's nasty.
So when you shoot twice, you still have the same result. So yeah, that's basically just free rules that make that so much better, because you would mob up the Ludas. You take a 15-man and a 10-man Luda squad, mob them up to be a 25-man Luda squad. That's usually not doable.
Yeah, but now you're talking, 6 command points?
Sure, but they're also...
Mob up 2, shoot against 2.
But Gretchen are also cheap as shit to make a bunch of battalions.
Yeah.
And also that orcs typically have good choices, or at least inexpensive choices, in every detachment slot or force org if they want to take brigades.
That actually, the cheap and like detachment building thing actually reminds me probably what's going to be, in my opinion, the most used orc stratagem. The biggest boss, I think, is what it's called. You can't have Gazgul in your army. We touched on this last week, but it's like give a war boss a 4-up invulnerable save, +1 wound, +1 attack, and +1 strength. I think is what it is.
Oh yeah, you could be a beast.
No, it's the cleverest. Is this what it is? It's +1 wound, +1 attack, and weapon skill to 2-up.
Doesn't it also give them an invulnerable though, or no?
No, that's the biggest boss.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yes, that gives it add 1 wound, add 1 attack, and a 4-up invul.
That's gross, because that's one of the biggest issues with war bosses is that they don't have the defensive capabilities there generally.
Yeah. John Heath just mentioned that Killicans are good again in the ITC with gangbusters not working on vehicles. So he's excited about that.
That's true, and also, I mean, it's weird the way they've done up the whatever the special rules are for vehicles, but you have to take a Mech Boy workshop in order to get the special vehicle rules. Custom paint jobs, I think, is what it is. Those rules are gross. It's just a shame that you have to take a Mech Boy workshop on top of feasibly spending command points to get those rules.
It's because that's a terrain or fortification, right?
Hey.
Mm-hmm. It's only 50 points, though.
Hey, guys.
So
I'm reading the stratagem right now, and it's blowing my mind as someone who enjoys like combat in the game.
It's not flying headbutt, is it?
No, it's unstoppable momentum.
Okay.
It's 2 CP. Use this stratagem in the charge phase. When an orc unit from your army has finished a charge move and dealt 1 or more mortal wounds to an enemy unit.
Charge again.
Yes, if the orc unit is no longer within 1 inch of an enemy unit, it can immediately choose to charge again. So if you're using that one stratagem that allows you to do mortal wounds when you charge, and you do a mortal wound, and then there's nothing there longer than an inch, you get to charge again from that space.
That's awesome.
Dude. It's hard-ish to use because your mortal wounds have to wipe off whatever you're engaged with.
But it'll be badass when you do, though.
Dude, you're talking about like huge movement, man. Huge movement into someone's backfield. And then you pair that with fight again.
Yeah, because you could set it up. Man. You could definitely set it up, right? You take like the little pissant like screen and you knock it down to like one or two guys left, and then go wreck into it.
Dude, not only wreck into it, but then like you get to charge from it. So things that they thought were safe from outside of 12 inches that were no longer able to be charged at, now can be charged.
Well, I mean, especially like let's say you roll fat on the charge that you're doing the mortals with, and you tap that guy within an inch, but then you do this huge wrap to as far back as possible behind that unit. Kill that one guy with the mortals and charge. You could be flying across the board.
Dude, not only charge, but then fight again. So like you can charge into something and already move so far that like it kills that. Then you obviously get to activate again after the consolidate. You get to pile in again into something, attack that, and then consolidate further, tying up any back line.
And if you could still do the fight again strat after that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You just do the normal fight again strat to continue like moving in.
Oh yeah, because you're like you do the charge, you kill that thing, you charge again, you kill that thing, you fight again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of CPU. You're talking what, 5, 6 CP? It's a lot. But
yeah, shit.
Damn.
You're up in there, dude. You're like doing everything you could want to do.
If that combo goes off right with 6 CP, you should win that game.
Yeah, I mean, screens are always a thing. Like, if you got the right kind of screenage and the right deployments.
Dude, I'm just thinking about this, inhibiting your opponent's movement like that. Like, being able to touch things that don't have the fly keyword and literally just cannot operate for a phase because they only get like 1 or 2 attacks in combat, can't really do anything, and you're just mobbing on them. Oh, it just sounds so cool. It almost makes you want to play Orcs right now.
I feel you.
I mean, you could always certainly use Simons, I reckon, if you're doing like some team events.
Definitely. That's definitely a trick I'm going to use. I had no idea that came, and we normally have been using Orcs in our teams. And our next team event, whenever this happens, we want to do Tau with Orcs. And I'm going to obviously play the Orcs since I like combat, and that is something I'm going to be looking to set up somehow. But it's going to be all the CP. Like that's the only thing is like in doubles events, you're so limited on your CP that would literally be all of the CP to pull that combo off. But it might be worth it.
Yeah. Could shut off a lot of stuff that didn't think could be shut
especially
off.
with Tau. Oh man, this being shot at for days with just orcs touching you and you can't do anything about it.
Disgusting.
Dude, it's just it's almost as gross as what Carol gets away with.
Oh shit.
Well, gents, it's been a good hour hanging out this week.
Is there quarantine land?
Yeah, we're stuck up in here, dude. It was cool to get to hang out with some folks on the channel there. Matt, Steven, John. Thank you guys. We saw James Sheets out there. Saw Painful Exception tuning in, repping the Infinity.
We have Mr. Kevin Leonard.
Yep, always Kevin Leonard. Appreciate you, my good friend.
And that dude knows how nasty Tau is right now.
Yep, Poxus. Yeah. Got to see some Poxus in there. That was awesome.
Dude, Poxus is the man as always.
Yeah.
Cleet.
Yep, Big Cleet. What's up? It's been Mike. And then we had Mike, of course. Mike, hope you're incubating in those dice rolls to be amazing when we see you next.
Hey, microwave those dice for just 10 seconds. That's all you got to do.
Mike and I are supposed to play some Warhammer Underworlds here soon, so maybe some virtual dice will help him out.
Ooh.
So that'll be cool. Maybe I need to throw some streams up of that again. But yeah, tune in tomorrow to the Party Liberation Front on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube if you want to see some live DJ action. We'll probably share it on some. You'll find it. It'll be out there, but it'll be live tomorrow, 7 to 10. And if you want to see the how to stream stuff, we were talking about that earlier. There's the first couple videos are on our YouTube. The rest is behind Patreon or Skillshare. I don't know when we'll actually film some games again that aren't virtual and not what we love, and it's crazy time, friends.
For sure. Thanks to John in chat for the awesome game. He's the Sisters player I'd referenced earlier in the episode. And next time we get a game in, I got to take some more pictures. Actually, get some pseudo battle report going up.
Yeah, there we go. There we go for sure. Yeah, because we'll be back next Thursday. This was episode 96. We're going to be at 97. We're approaching 100. Hopefully by 100, we're like, all right, we're out of the house. We're streaming again.
Freedom!
It's nice to hope. But everybody be safe out there. And we have like 500 some videos on our page. If you want to go check that shit out if you're bored, we'd love for you to.
Hey, share us to a friend.
Yeah, come on.
It's a lot of backlog. Teach them 40K to people.
Yeah,
got nothing going on.
Warcry, Infinity, get out there. But we appreciate y'all. Keep taking fun seriously. We'll catch you next time.
Doses.